All right, so welcome back to another one, y'all. All right, so today's gonna be a little different. Now, keep in mind, I am not affiliated with these companies in any way, shape, or form. So I do a lot of traveling. I look at a lot of different boats, and there's certain products that, you know, I just don't think have gained popularity for no other reason than the fact that they don't have catfish wrote on them, right? So what I want to do today is I want to talk with you about two different rod holders that are excellent catfish rod holders that you've probably never heard of. You know, I think a lot of people get fixated on if it says catfish, you know, same way with the rods and everything else. And of course, we all know about the Drift Master and the Monster rod holders, and I'm not trying to take anything away from those. I know they're great products, but there's also other products out there that make great catfishing rod holders. So first things first, we'll talk about this one here. So this product here is made by Millennium Marine. Now what this is actually designed for is a spider rigging technique that we crappie fishermen use, where we'll actually take this and we'll mount it to the front of our boat and we'll push you know, long poles out and crappie fish. So that's what it's originally designed for, but it makes an excellent T-bar for catfish and rod holders. Now a lot of you guys have probably heard of the multi-bar. This is a very similar concept to the multi-bar, I guess. This thing's been out for a long time. I've had this is my third boat that I've had this thing on. But basically I'll just go over it real quick. So you can see I've actually anchored up right now and I've got 3 rods on it. You've got 4 actual rod holders, and you can see these are big catfish rods. You know, you can get them in and out, and you know, no problem there. You've got plenty of room. I would say there's roughly probably about 6 to 7 inches in between each rod holder. What makes this thing really unique and cool, especially for the catfisherman, that I think is, first off here you can see I've got this thing all the way up. This thing can actually drop down. It's got 4 different positions. You can see I'll drop it down there to the 3rd position. So it makes it really neat. You know, you can kind of customize it to your boat. Probably the coolest thing that I feel is these rod holders, they're a 3/8 aluminum round bar. This whole thing's made out of aluminum. So I mean, it's plenty sturdy to deal with, you know, a big takedown on a catfish. But what's cool is each one of these rod holders are infinitely adjustable, right? So we've got adjustment down here that will actually turn the rod holder one way that way. This here in the center will actually, and all this is knurled. You can rotate the T-bar, the whole T-bar itself. But probably the coolest thing is right here, this works off a cam system, and you can actually take, and I'll do it real quick for you guys right here. If you just loosen that up, you can adjust this to any angle that you want. Like I said, this is designed more for a crappie fishing application. So a lot of you guys are probably familiar with like monster rod holders where they'll come in like 0 degrees, 33 degrees, 45 degrees, whatever. This is infinitely adjustable, and it works on the whole cam system. And so once you get it where you really want it, just take that wing nut and just lock it down. And I mean, it is not going anywhere. Super solid. Another cool thing with this Millennium is the way it mounts. So you've actually got a base here, and I'll do a close-up here after I get done talking, because I know you guys will probably want to see it a little closer. But actually there's 2 1/4-20 wing nuts that actually hold this thing on to a movable base plate. So I've actually got 3 or 4 of these staged out through my boat. Obviously, as you can see, I've got it on the back end of my boat now for anchor fishing. But a lot of times we drive up on the side of a bank whenever we current fish, and we fish, you know, a lot out of the side of our boat, you know, give people a little bit more easy access to the rods. So with simply taking 2 wing nuts out, I can take this whole tree or T-bar, whatever you want to call it, and move it to any location in my boat that I have one of those mounting plates. It's just a 1/4 inch piece of aluminum mounting plate. Pretty cool deal. Like I said, you can see I can pull on this all day long. You're not going to tear it up. You can see it holds 4 rods real nice. Anyway, I get a lot of questions on that, and like I said, this is not a piece of equipment that is marketed towards the catfisherman. But yeah, pretty cool. Millennium Marine, I'll leave a link below to that. All right, so the next thing, let me grab a rod here. Let me grab a rod and we will go to the next rod holder. I may have to move the camera here. And we'll talk about the next rod holder that you guys have probably never heard of and is an awesome product. All right, so next here we'll go to this. Now these are called Folby rod holders. Now I get a ton of questions about these rod holders. Now these particular rod holders are 10 years old. I've had these on 3 different boats. What make these rod holders cool is I'll show you here. So this is my my drifting rod here. I've got 24 ounces of lead on this particular rod. So, you know, a lot of weight out there, a lot of leverage. What happens a lot of times with catfishing is you get the rod holders similar to those, or, you know, like your traditional monster rod holder. If you've got a ton of weight, you can see how bent that rod is out there. Sometimes it's a pain to work that rod out of that rod holder, especially if you've got a big fish taking it down. You can see what I just did right there, how easy that is to pull that out. So these Folby rod holders are huge out west. They are huge with the salmon guys out west on the west coast, the sturgeon guys. These things are built to handle big fish, right? And I know that's the first thing probably y'all are gonna say is, oh, it's a plastic rod holder. You know, there's different kinds of plastic, guys, and I can tell you, I don't know what kind of space age material this is, but I can tell you right now that you can have this rod doubled over and pulling back that way. And like I said, these things are 10 years old. It is amazing the amount of torque that you can put on these things. Like I said, they're designed for sturgeon fishing and salmon fishing. If you guys aren't familiar with salmon fishing on the west coast, it's actually very similar to a lot of the same techniques that we use here on the big rivers to drift for catfish. Once again, the cool thing about these Folby rod holders, if you've got a giant fish takedown, all you have to do is lift up with the rod holder and it opens itself up, frees itself up. You don't have to fight getting the rod out of the rod holder. And as you can see, I can put as much pressure as I want on that. And the way this cam system works, your rod is completely secured. That's what I like. You know, a lot of times I fish 3 rods by myself and I'll get a rod hung up. You got all the whole river current pushing at you, and it's just so easy to pick that rod up and go to fighting your fish or getting your snag or whatever you want to do. One cool thing with the Folbys too is the fact this wing nut right here gives you basically it's not infinite adjustability. It is kind of it's knurled, so you have I mean a little bit of leeway there, but you can really take this and put this about any angle you want. So if you want this thing sticking straight up in the air, or if you want it horizontal like I have it right here for a drifting application, you can do that. Another cool thing with these Folbys is I'll take this rod out and I'll set it aside, but cool thing about these Folbys is you're not stuck to this rod holder being on the side of your boat. It's actually spring loaded in here, and you can see with just the push of a button, you can take that rod holder in and out, in and out. You can see I have it mounted on the track system in my boat, and so I can move these things around whenever I want. Also, one benefit is I do a lot of traveling. So, you know, with traditional rod holders, it's very hard to get a cover on a boat whenever you got this big giant rod holder sticking out. Simply push the button. You're flush with the gunnel of your boat, you throw these in a bag in the floor, in a live well, whatever, and you can put your cover on your boat. I'll show you a little bit closer here if you guys can see how that cam action works. And like I said, these things are super, super tough. I can't stress this enough. I know everybody has had dealings with the super cheap plastic rod holders, and I can tell you, these are not that. These Folby rod holders are built to handle, you know, 10, 12 foot long sturgeon. I can't stress that enough. You can also hit this little button here and you can actually lock that into place. You know, a lot of guys up north use these for trolling for muskies. These are big fish rod holders. These are the Advantage. These are the little bigger version. They make a junior version, which is a little bit smaller. But like I said, guys, 10 plus years I've had these on 3 different boats. I can't say any bad thing about them. Like I said, these are the rod holders that I use to drift out on the big river. There is a huge chance of having a lot of pressure put on these rod holders. And I can tell you, they have held up wonderfully. I've got the risers on mine, like I said. You can see to kind of get it up and in my face whenever I sit down, but really cool. You can also, Folby also makes you know, products here. I'll show you this. This is a nice little cup holder. It swivels around so you don't spill your drink. You know, you've got some anchor cleats and different accessories, you know, that you can fit in these rod holders. So it makes it really kind of convenient. But anyway, like I said, just the fact, I'll get this rod here again, and just the fact of being able to take that rod, set it in there, forget it. Whenever you're fighting your fish, grab it, and you're there. That to me is awesome. All right, guys, there you have it. Two very different and unique rod holders that are excellent for catfish that you've probably never heard of. Like I said, I don't see them on a lot of boats around here, at least my part in the country and the parts of the country I've traveled to. They're big in regional areas. So anyway, guys, if you're interested in these, I will leave a link below. It'll be an Amazon affiliated link, so it does help me out if you buy through that link. But if you're interested in them, definitely check them out. Like I said, you look at the price of this thing versus the price of, say, a multi-bar and then 4 monster rod holders, you know, you're almost coming out ahead. And I can tell you right now, just because it doesn't say catfish on it does not mean it will not handle the abuse that catfishing takes on a product. Like I said, this thing here, I believe is about 6 to 7 years old. This T-bar, I have 2 of them on the back of my boat, and those Folbies they're over 10 years old. So I don't know. Anyway, guys, I get a lot of questions on this type of stuff, so thought I'd do this short, quick video. Let you guys see what I'm running. If you guys have any more questions about equipment you see on my boat or would like to see a video on anything else, definitely leave a comment down below. If you would, hit that thumbs up. It helps me out. Leave a comment as always. With that being said, y'all, appreciate the view. See you on the next one.